Gaaarrryy. Gaaarrryy. Ah, Gaaarrryy. Does anyone remember that? Alright, Vault 108. Anyone who's been here before has been creeped out by all the clones running around in here. And to me, honestly, what set the tone for this was, I think the first time I ever went to this particular vault, I think this was like the next vault I visited after 101. Seems like that was the case. Anyway, walking in the entrance right here, you see that, you know, of course, the door having been open and the wasteland has crept in and everything's all rotted out and blood splashed on the walls. Something went terribly wrong here, right? Half the door's broken or ajar and all that. Wild mole rats attacking me when I first walk in. But, you know, each vault has their own story. Well, this one, you find out that a lot of the vaults were used for experimenting. Once the vault doors closed, they essentially, in a lot of cases, became somewhat of a prison, and the vault residents became, well, test subjects for whatever they were trying to run. And that wasn't really the case with 101, but with this one, it was cloning. And so the reason you see like Gaaarrryy 21, Gaaarrryy 47, Gaaarrryy 15, and all that is these are all, I guess, genetic copies of some original Gaaarrryy here, and they decided to take over the vault for themselves. I will point out that at some point you go by a female dorm, but that's blocked off. Don't know if there were ever females here or what happened to them or whatever. I'm sure there's some story that can be had, a little more detail from some of the computers and stuff here, but that's just a basic rundown. Is that was this particular vault story, is that there was cloning experimentation going on here. Now what I'm here for is the bobblehead specifically. Exploring is one thing, but looking in every corner of the entire map would result in a about a 4,000 hour Let's Play. That would be about 600 videos long. Fallout 4 would already be old news by the time this was done. At that rate, but this is definitely worth stopping in here though, right? Anyway, out here in this first entrance area, it's just some random stuff. You see the condition of this place as it is. Basically, as soon as the vault doors open, this is what happens when the wasteland creeps in, you know? Alright, so we'll get into the vault itself, and I think it's pretty much a straight shot to the bobblehead. If I remember right, it's basically walk in and walk out. The same thing with the science bobblehead. That's in vault... Oh, what's the number? 92? I think it's 92. If we even get to that one, that'll be like probably the last one. That one's kind of trippy in that the story behind that one is they were using some kind of psychotic gas type thing or something, but it's kind of like an acid trip thing. It might be worth a stop in there. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to really worry about that bobblehead, but we can go check it out. Now that I got my points in range to unlock hard computers, I probably won't sink any more points in that. I'm sure I'll pick up some books of science and stuff, but other than that, I don't think I'll be investing anything else into science for the most part. Got a bobblehead coming, and like I say, you've got the any skill books that might pop up here and there. If I need a little boost, I get a Mentat. That's all they know how to say. And there we go. Gotta have a 108 vault suit as a souvenir. I like doing that. Each vault that I explore during a playthrough, keeping a vault suit from that particular vault and put it up. Used to be put it up as a... oh wow, this one's got a gun. Gaaarrryy! Gaaarrryy? It's hard to think about Fallout 3 without thinking about Vault 108. It really is. Don't run, Gaaarrryy. One reason I don't really play melee in this, it's actually overpowered. It was even more overpowered in New Vegas, believe it or not. You didn't have to put any points into melee skills, and you could decapitate just about anything and everything with a swing or two. And then on top of that, they came out with some weapons like katanas and stuff like that that were just so over the top, it was ridiculous. Put any points and perks into that related combat style. There's our bobblehead, by the way. Notice it wasn't too far from the entrance. We can just make a pretty much a straight shot out. I can run around a little bit, but this is really what I came here for. We've got lots of things still to do and places to see, but definitely had to stop in here and grab that.
Gaaarrryy! Gaaarrryy!
So creepy, man. I don't know exactly how many Gaarrys are in here. I don't know if it's random or if there's a set number. Like I mentioned in my last video, if you go do the Operation Anchorage, you'll find a Gaaarrryy. I think it's Gaaarrryy 20-something. 23, 27 or something. Anyway, you find a Gaaarrryy there in a little side room if you look around when you get to the bunker. You can walk all through that place without picking up any threat from any of the outcast guys there. But you see a dead Gaaarrryy, and his arm's been chopped off, and apparently they were after his Pip-Boy. Which, you know, that's why they call you in, is because they need somebody with a living arm to operate a living Pip-Boy. So, yeah, they call you in to do what they can't do for themselves. Like I said, if they could find a way to kill you and just take your Pip-Boy, they would have. That's just how much they value human life over their quote-unquote technology. Here's a second reactor. I'm assuming it's to power up all their extra genetic experiment stuff. But anyway, here would be the female dorm, but it's blocked off. So if there were women here or whatever, I guess they were either killed off or sent out into the wasteland or something. And then I guess one male stayed behind and cloned himself, or one of the ones that was cloned continued to clone himself and killed off everyone. I don't know exactly the whole story. But, yeah, see, melee is overpowered. It really is. But just got my stab happy, so I figured I'd come in and play around with that for a little bit. I haven't put anything into melee. Nothing. Not a perk, not a point, nothing. Alright, there we have it. There's our Charisma Bobblehead. Got that out of the way. I think we'll get out of here. And this place really is creepy, though. Was it Vault 87? Is it 87? The one towards the end of the game that's filled with all the super mutants and stuff. That one's the highly irradiated, like everywhere. Vault, that one's pretty creepy in its own way, too. Super mutants are one thing, though, but these clones running around being all creepy and Gaaarrryy. Okay, that's like a whole nother creepiness factor right there. Anyway, you can see that, I remember what I was doing with the guns. Watch this. Yeah, see, like I say, melee's overpowered, so, anyone who thinks that melee challenge makes the game harder, no, it really doesn't. You start getting ninja perks and unarmed perks and power hitting perks and start throwing all your points into that, too. You can pretty much one-shot everything in the game. That with a melee thing. Although a ninja build is one thing if they had... Well, you have the Chinese stealth suit, so you can do a ninja roleplay, I guess. There is that. But this is pretty much my favorite playstyle. Having experimented with a lot of different things and stuff, a lot of times once I finally share these with you guys, the gameplays, it's pretty much the ones that I've either had the most fun with or am the most comfortable with. In other words, what playstyle fits me, my taste and how I like to do things and stuff. And that's pretty much what I pass along to you guys. So this would be pretty much my favorite character build. This build, though, is actually good for just about anything you want to do. Especially in Fallout 3. In New Vegas, there's some specifics like, strength requirements and stuff for weapons and stuff, which there's workarounds for all that. A lot of weapons which may have a strength requirement, all it does is affects their accuracy, but something like big guns, I don't think it'll necessarily affect their damage, it just makes them wobble a lot if you don't meet the strength requirement, so they're still usable. Anyway. Right, this is ridiculous.
Pathetic tin cans are no match for my army.
The citizens of this town have nothing to fear. The Mechanist is here to protect them.
We'll see about that. Attack, my ant soldiers. Destroy this fool and his tin toys.
Go forth, my steadfast creation. Show these vermin humanity's true power.
Face it, Mechanist. Humans and their toys are done for. They killed themselves off with their people.
Humans may be weak sometimes, but our creations are strong and pure. Something you'll never be.
Humanity's created for the means of their undoing. And now, the world will belong to the antagonizer.
Not while the world is protected by me, the Mechanist. Your reign of terror is at an end.
Your reign of terror. Okay, so two people with a Marvel Comics complex shouting insults at each other from across the street. This is awesome.
Are you all right? You aren't hurt, are you? I'd like to apologize for the rude welcome. Those two have been a bit of a problem lately. Name's Rowe. Uncle Rowe to most. Welcome to Canterbury Commons. For what that's worth. The, Mechanist and the Ant Agonizer. That's just what they call themselves. It's ridiculous, I know. A while ago, we were attacked by the Ant Agonizer, that woman with the ants, obviously. The Mechanist saved the town with his robots. Well, that was all well and good, but I swear their fights are getting bigger, and it's been driving off the merchants. They simply won't leave. Oh, that's terrific. I knew you'd help out. Knew it in my gut, and it's never steered me wrong on a deal yet. Find where the Ant Agonizer and the Mechanist hide and convince them to stop or otherwise end their hostility, and you'll earn 200 caps. You only need to stop one of them, really. Nowadays, I think they only stay in Canterbury to fight each other. I'm afraid that won't do, friend. Are you sure you won't take the generous offer I've already made? Great! I'm relieved to know the situation will be quickly resolved. Let me know if I can be of assistance to you. Oh, and please, do try to use some discretion. We already have plenty of would-be heroes starting wars in the streets. We don't need another. If it'll help, I'm glad to. One day there was a crazy woman leading a bunch of ants into town. She said humanity was dead and the ants would inherit the earth, stuff like that. Well, that gave Tom plenty of time to line up a shot or two on the ants. She ran away, but every once in a while she'd stage an attack again. She wasn't much of a threat then. In fact, she was sort of entertaining at first. Gave everyone in town something to talk about. But when the Mechanists started fighting her, things got bad. Ants are easy to shoot, but add robots with lasers, it got real nasty. The Mechanist used to be our town mechanic, Scott Walensky. Quiet guy, but plenty fierce with a wrench and some solder. Guy used to take care of a robot that protected the town until it got torn up in one of the Ant Agonizer's lame little attacks. I guess he took it personal because he made a mechanical suit and called himself the Mechanist, said he would lead a robot army to fight her. Now he doesn't even respond to his name, and his robot army is more dangerous to the town than the ants ever were. My nephew Derek might know more about them. I swear it's all I can do to keep him from running into the fight whenever they come out. He might know more about where you can find them, but don't encourage the poor boy. He's had enough close calls. I most heartily agree. Glad to help, glad to help. You'll want to talk with Joe Porter over in Dot's Diner. I don't know who Dot was, but I'm sure Porter's food does her memory proud. When they're in town, you can find the caravan trader out front of the town. They say it's a good way to catch a visitor's eye. Enjoy! Ha! Damn near everything, I suspect. I founded the place myself, and I'm the reason this place stays fat and happy. Because I asked them to, I suspect. I grew up in these trade caravans, known most of them my whole life. I founded this place with my sister Daisy back in the day. Perfect stop along the caravan circuit. They're just small caravans that make rounds through the wastes, hawking their wares from Paradise Falls to Rivet City. They won't trade with anyone who's hit their friends, but that's about as organized as they get. I had thought about it, but some of these wasteland traders, well, they aren't exactly the organizational type. It'd take a pretty savvy businessman to make it worth their while to work together. Frankly, I'm not sure even I'm up to the task. Madam, you flatter me. I'm but a humble man of this small community. But since it's a trader community, I suppose I can call in a few favors with the caravans. I suppose I am rather persuasive in that way. So you just let me know what you'd like to see from the caravans, and I'll let them know what to focus on. Then you'd be looking for Lucky Harith, adventurer, martial artist, and occasional collector of the most deadly items known to mankind. He's a bit of an eccentric, but he deals in more weaponry than you can shake a sharp stick at. In fact, he's probably got a sharp stick, too. Harith's got quite a lot of weapons, but I'm sure he could improve his stock. An investment of 200 caps should see to that nicely.
I don't know how much money I have, but
Harith will be delighted. He usually is by most things, really.
do all the investing I can in everybody that I can real quick.
If Harith were a less reputable man, I'm sure he could use his armory to collect even more weapons. But he's a merchant, not a raider, so it's legitimate means only. Like a legitimate investment of 500 caps. An investment in weaponry is usually returned in short order, after all. I'll inform Harith. That simply isn't feasible, I'm afraid. Harith's gear already rivals some mercenary armies. Anything further would be asking for trouble. Sure thing. Interested in any of the other traders? Our man Crow handles most armor and clothing out on the trail. He grew up a tribal, but he traded in his loincloth for much snappier apparel long ago. It takes a fair amount of capital to expand into higher quality material, you know. Improving Crow's wardrobe would require a one-time investment of, say, 200 caps. Excellent. I'll send word to Crow right away. Crow's armor is already rather extensive, but I'm sure it could be even more impressive for a one-time investment of 500 caps. Isn't it, though? I'll send this right along to Crow. At this point, the merchandise of our man Crow is the best in the wasteland. I fear it's beyond improvement with further investments. All right, you're the boss. Sure thing. Which one would you like to talk about? Then you'll be wanting Doc Hoff, or the Good Doctor, as he prefers. He prescribes everything from a good meal to stim packs to things that'll make your brain get up and dance. The Good Doctor's lab equipment isn't cheap. It'll cost about 200 caps for him to offer higher quality material. Excellent. I'll send word to the Good Doctor right away. At this point, it would be hard to improve Doc's medicine cabinet without a significant investment. Say 500 caps should suffice for him to offer a whole cornucopia of pharmacopoeia. Isn't it, though? I'll send this right along to him. As much as it hurts me to say it, there's really only so much that money can buy. The Good Doctor's supply cannot be improved at this point. Sure thing. Interested in any of the other traders? That'd be Crazy Wolfgang. He does repairs and general supplies, but he prefers to call himself a junk dealer. As he says, he's overjoyed to assist those who have a deep need for his junk. He doesn't like that. Says it catches people's attention.
Got a need for my junk.
About 200 caps, I'm sure he could improve the quality of his materials, or at least offer more of them. Excellent. I'll see to it right away. At this point, it would require another pack Brahmin to carry his wares. But for 500 caps, I think he could offer more. Isn't it, though? I'll inform Wolfgang immediately. At the moment, Wolfgang's practically carrying an entire junkyard with him. Anything more, and he'll have trouble with the traveling part of being a traveling salesman. All right, you're the boss. You can usually find one of the trade caravans at the entrance to town. They come through every day or two. Other than them, Porter's always got food for sale down at the diner. Good luck with those two troublemakers.
All right. Now any merchant we run across is going to have a repair skill of about 90 plus, give or take.
Just stumbled into town? He sure picked a fine day for it, with the crazies out there. Here, have a drink on the house. Welcome to Canterbury. I'm Joe Porter. I make sure folks around here can get a meal when they need it. We do our best. Well, Dom and Roe do their best. I just make sure they've got enough food so they can keep on doing their best. You ever find yourself starving around here, drop by Dot's Diner. We don't charge much, but don't expect any more freebies. You mean apart from having cheesy names? Actually, I think I might know something useful. One of the traders told me she sounded like a girl he used to know. Girl's whole family was wiped out by ants, not long before she showed up here. But they never found any trace of her body. Said her name was Tanya Kristoff. That might just be our little antagonizer. Best place I ever worked in, and I guess I've worked about everywhere there is. We get some weird types passing through, but it's stable enough for a guy to make an honest living. I don't really see what more a man could ask for. Only the best, hand-picked from the wastes, for what that's worth.
Get what money I can from him. Might as well. Probably go hit the merchants at the front of town. Also, it usually takes a few days, though, for it to register that you've invested in all of them. I think it's actually 3 in-game days. And then each one will treat you a little different. They'll have a lot more caps to spend, and all their repair skills will be really, really high. I'm not going to worry about that too much till we get back from the pit, though.
Bye.
Talk to some people around here. Some of them have some pretty funny dialogue.
Newcomer to town, huh? Well, I'm Dominic Delasadro, and welcome to Canterbury Commons. Try to ignore the idiots in the costumes. Popular activities around town are trading, listening to Roe yap, and burying thieves in unmarked graves. Of course, we ran out of thieves to bury long ago. Saw to it myself. Might be a dead art, unless you're planning on stealing anything. When I can find time for it, sure. In the gardening business, it's the personal touches that make all the difference. Anyway, welcome to town. Don't cause trouble. Threats of violent justice, so on, so forth. You look like you know the drill. Bro hired you to put a stop to their shit, did he? Guess he finally listened when I told him I haven't got the time to do it myself. It's easy enough to hide inside when those two square off, but they're only getting worse about it all. I don't know who she is, other than a crazy with an ant suit and a chip on her shoulder for humanity. She wasn't much trouble by herself, really. Her attacks were a joke, but at least stories of her kept some of the raiders at bay. If it helps, she was always attacking from the warrens up north. Maybe you can find her ant nest in there. You mean Scott Walensky? I refuse to call him by that ridiculous name just because his head got a screw loose. He used to be a damn good friend, and not just because he fixed my guns up. Now he spends all his time up in that bot shop, just thinking about fighting that ant agonizer. Hardly even recognizes his own name anymore. If you could just make either one of them stop fighting, it'd do the trick. You probably wouldn't have to worry about the other one. I can't imagine Scott attacking the town with his robots, and that ant agonizer girl was never much more than a sideshow freak by herself. Ro may prefer that you're thorough, but all I care about is that you get the job done, one way or the other. Fine by me. Canterbury's a good town. Ro's done a damned good job setting up the place, and no one can handle the day-to-day details like him. But when it comes to the big stuff, that's when he needs a little help. That's where I come in.
So as long as there's no big stuff, you're useless.
Matters. Putting down thieves, protecting people from raiders who are short-sighted or stupid enough to attack, that sort of thing. Pretty much. Anything the man can't solve by talking at it. And don't misunderstand, he can solve a lot of things that way. I'm about the rarest thing out here in the wastes, a mercenary who lived long enough to retire. I used to sell my services around here, so it was a natural place to settle down. Not a bad sort of retirement, honestly. If you're done asking questions, I'm sure there's something I should be keeping an eye on. Bye.
All right, I think there's a skill book off in here. Anyway, that guy's suave self-visions of aggrandizement or whatever. He sure thinks he's something. Apparently, as long as there's no trouble, then he doesn't have anything to do. And his whole purpose for existing is to deal with trouble. So, in other words, he's useless. But, whatever. Each to their own. As long as they're getting by and leaving people alone up here, I guess that's all good. Interesting thing is a lot of the people, the NPCs in the game, they have like backstories. They may come from like way elsewhere. Like, you know, there was a casual mention that Crow used to be a tribal. Well, who knows what tribe, but there's probably a link there with one of the tribes you know, that you see in New Vegas or something. You know, stuff like that. Like there's little links, little webs, you know, connecting things here and there. Dig deep enough and kind of puts all the stories together. I think that's pretty cool. All right, skill book, some free ammo. I'll take it. Like I say, we go down to the end of the street, and you can sit there and just use the back button and wait for 3, 4, 5 hours at a time, whatever. And the merchants will actually switch out for you. You know, you'll get to the dock, then you'll get to Lucky Harris, then you'll get to the junk trader, then you get to the armor guy, and you know. And they'll keep switching out, and every 3 days they'll re-up on all their caps too. So, once again, if you just have a crap ton of equipment, like a bunch of really high-dollar gear, and one merchant doesn't have enough caps to buy them from you, then you can just stand at the end of the street here and just cycle through them, basically.
What do you want? Can't you see I'm busy? Fine. Hi. Whatever. I'm Machete, and I've got better things to do than talk with you. Scram. I know Dom doesn't want me just killing them. He and the Mechanist used to be friends or something. All I know is, next time they come to town, I bet I could solve the whole problem with 1 bullet for each of them. This whole place would fall apart if it weren't for Dom and me keeping anyone from causing too much trouble. Fat old Ro may think he runs the place, but it's only because Dom lets the idiot.
Okay, so Dom's little girlfriend with the smart mouth and thinking she's a badass because I guess Dom is her boyfriend, who she thinks is a badass, and well, he's probably not either, but like I say, whatever. As long as they're up here minding their own business, then, well, that's fine. This isn't the only place you can do this. Also, you can stand out in front of Megaton. You can stand at the end of the bridge, Rivet City, you know, the base of that little, the stairs leading up to that bridge. Oh, there's the entrance to Paradise Falls, although that's, you're just as likely to get jumped and spawned on
Welcome,
as you would,
My name is Crow, and I travel
Meet a
the land
merchant.
offering vestments of protection. And you are fortunate I found you in time. You bear the look of one who is haunted, but I am proud to say that my wares can protect you from even the cruel claws of death itself. Have a look. My caravan
Right now-
sells clothing and armor to... My travels take...
Yeah, he didn't have anything new to say.
Have a look. See if anything
It
falls
hasn't
out.
registered that we've invested with him, but in a few days, I think he gives us a freebie. I think he gives us like an iBot helmet or something. It's actually a pretty rare item, but he'll let us know that he knows we invested in him. I guess it takes a few days for them to go get more stuff, but like, see here, he has a couple hundred caps. Next time we see him, he's likely to have anywhere from 1,000 to even 3,000. And so, like I say, this is definitely a good way to get rid of that high dollar stuff. Plasma rifles, whatever, you know, Enclave gear, I don't know. All kinds of stuff like that. Anyway.
Another satisfied customer. Stay.
And honestly, just as important, you'll also find with their repair skill being up in the 90s, if you've got that one piece of armor or weapon where you just can't find a spare part to repair it with yourself, even if your repair skill is really high, then you can come pay one of them to do it. Or say you've got just one spare set and, you know, you'd rather just get it in good condition and keep your reserve for when you're out there, you know, fighting and stuff. It's always nice to have at least one thing set aside where you can repair your stuff with. It's expensive, but like once you have a way to make a crap ton of caps really aren't an issue anyway. So spending 1,000 caps to repair your favorite gun or something is not that big of a deal. It sounds like a lot now, but it definitely won't be later. Anyway, so I make sure to invest in all of them. I was actually surprised I had enough caps. What was that, 700 each? So was that 2,800, almost 3,000 caps for that? I guess there is one good thing about completing a portion of the game before coming here to do this. And I've even bought an upgrade or two for my house also. I think I bought the lab and the pre-war theme already. I think so. So I've already spent some money. But anyway, lucky me, I had enough to invest in everybody. And so any merchant that I meet anywhere can repair my stuff and have a good amount of money on them. So it'll pay for itself, essentially, in the long run. Not just the convenience, but the fact that they'll have a lot more caps to spend. I think once you read that, I don't know if you have to read that computer first or not, but then this will be here. And if you're going to take the long way through here, these pulse grenades will come in handy. I'm not. I'm going to basically shortcut. Go find the mechanist and deal with him. Old Scott Walensky. A little backstory behind him is that the robot that the antagonizer killed when she first came into town in one of her little freak shows or whatever, was Scott Walensky's girlfriend. Okay, I guess this is where they got the robot fetish thing in New Vegas from. Apparently Scott Walensky's got that robot fetish thing going on. And I believe that's the backstory. Is the antagonizer killed the love of his life, his one special Protectron girlfriend or something like that. I think we'll see that robot also when we go into his little shop. Although there's nothing really there necessarily to signify that it was his girlfriend. It's not like she's got makeup and girly paint on her or anything. But anyway, that's, I believe, the deal here. So it's an extra little bit of humor to throw off into this. The guy's a robot freak, and the antagonizer killed his girlfriend that he made specially for himself. And so he took it upon himself to be the dispenser of justice for all of the wasteland. Or something. Yeah, these are definitely freaks. But this was their love den, right? Back here.
What are you doing?
Yeah, so there he is.
How did you get past my defenses?
Still wearing his outfit.
Did the antagonizer send you? Speak now, citizen, or I'll be forced to detain you until I can ascertain your true motives. I realize you mean well, but but I'm afraid you're being naive. The antagonizer is a mad woman, and the only thing that will stop her is force. As much as I wish peace were an option, the antagonizer is too deluded, too inhuman to listen to reason. Sadly, sometimes the scaly claw of tyranny must be destroyed by the cold, unfeeling pincers of justice. Is that true? Have I really become a threat to the town? Do you really feel that way? Am I really the villain here? Does this mean I should stop myself? I guess I could just give up my suit and stop being the mechanist. But I couldn't face the town after causing that much trouble. Here, please, take the suit. I don't want to think about it anymore.
Now, it'd be too funny if you meet this guy or some story of this guy later in Fallout 4. He makes his way to Boston to go redeem himself, having been the mechanist. It's that type of stuff that, I mean, you just can't let this lie. This is too epic to just let it end here. The mechanist and the antagonizer. Oh, good times, man. Good times. I think that's the way into his shop if you go the long way. But yeah, I think this was his robot girlfriend here. I believe that's the case. Anyway. Enough of that. This is just too much epicness, though. Alright, so we'll get out of here and we'll go deal with the antagonist. We don't have to, essentially. This will complete the quest, I believe. But if you're thorough about it, you get extra caps or something. We'd have got even more caps than that had I passed that speech check, but... Oh, one of you guys said something about saving and passing all the speech checks was messing up the whole immersion of the game and stuff. I really wasn't trying to do that. Of course, that's one person. Maybe everyone doesn't feel that way. Maybe some of you guys probably don't even care one way or the other, but I had thought that maybe passing the speech checks would, you know, maybe share a few things that some of you guys maybe hadn't seen. You know, sometimes you got to go through a certain kind of dialogue just to get to a speech check itself. There's the outfit on my character, but you know, once you get them and you pass them, sometimes funny things are said. Every once in a while you get an extra item. I don't care about that. I'm not using them anyway. If I get anything like A321's plasma rifle, I just put that up at home. It was just to do it, just for giggles, you know, to see what they say and how things can turn out and stuff like that. And sometimes it just saves you a few steps in a quest. Like this right here, rather than having to go through this long, drawn-out thing, this is a way... I mean, you could just kill the guy and take his outfit, you know, but I thought this was funnier. Now, luckily I had the Black Widow perk there, but that's not going to work on the antagonizer. That doesn't work on women, so I'm just going to have to deal with her. Straight up, hope I get lucky. You can kill either one of them for their stuff. I think if you... actually, if you don't kill either of them and... you know, if you solve it completely peacefully and get both of them to go, you know, if you're thorough about it, I think you do get an extra bonus in caps or something from the guy, which I don't really care about anyway. Like I say, caps aren't going to be a problem, but anyway, just a little FYI. Alright, so with her, Dan, you can go in the front door and go through this long, drawn-out set of tunnels, but what I like to do is just make a beeline straight to talking to her herself. If you come around the backside of this, there's a little trail up here somewhere. And there's like a manhole cover, and it leads straight to her little throne. I guess that's what it is, her throne. Her Ant Queen throne, right? Oh, there it is. Oops. Alright, let's see if I can talk her out of her uniform to stop all this madness.
At last, you've pried the shell off that meaty little mechanist. Give it to me. You would dare to tell the antagonizer to wait? No human commands the Ant Queen. But as you have defeated my nemesis, I will allow you to talk. quickly. You're wrong. Humans are cruel, hurtful beasts. They can't be saved. We can't be... I can't go back. But I can't keep doing this. I can't be as bad as they were. Please, I think I've made some terrible mistakes. If you really think I still have a chance, just let me go. I'll give you the suit. No one ever has to see the antagonizer again. Just please, let me have another chance. Thank you. I don't know how I can... Just thank you.
Okay. Is she aware of just how ridiculous she looked in that outfit?
Just leave me alone. I want
Seriously.
to leave all this behind me.
The cool thing is now I have them as souvenirs. Alright. So we were able to resolve that peaceably. That's cool. If you have to fight her, she pulls out... I think she pulls out one of those little saw knife things. And she calls in a few ants to come attack you. Alright, so let's report the good news to Uncle Ro. Let's see, if I were a game developer, this is the type of thing I would just get a kick out of. Doing stuff like this just because you can. Just because it's so ridiculous. I mean, but it's almost plausible. I guess if you were stuck in the wasteland post-war in the Holocaust, you'd run out of things to do. Might as well do something, right? So throw on a superhero uniform, right?
Hey. You're new here, right? I'm Derek. I do odd jobs around town. Nothing important. You'd probably rather talk to my uncle, Ernest Rowe. He can give you the official welcome and everything. Sounds like you never spend a day mucking out Brahmin pins with a busted shovel. My uncle says it'll build character. Mostly, it just builds stink. You mean the superheroes? Yeah. I'll try to watch all of their fights. I don't know much about her except she really, really doesn't like people. That's kinda cool. I mean, sometimes people are jerks. I think her lair is somewhere in the caves to the north of the city. I've seen her ants down there once in a while. Joe Porter said he found out something about her, but my uncle won't let him tell me. He says don't encourage the poor boy. I knew the Mechanist back when he was just a normal hero. He used to be called Scott. Then he fixed up stuff around town. But one day, the antagonizer killed his favorite robot, and I told him he ought to fight back against her like a real superhero. Ever since then, he's been up on his forge in the back of the robot shop on the hill, working to protect us all from the antagonizer.
His forge.
No way! Don't stop them, they're awesome! Unless maybe you're going to be a superhero too. You could be called Super Humongous and fight them with an army of super mutants. Well, okay. It's okay, I guess. I heard it's safer than most places, because the raiders don't bother us. But I've never been anywhere else, so I don't know. Say hi to the Mechanist for me.
Hey, with all of that fighting, I never did get to give you the official welcome to the town, did I? Welcome to Canterbury Commons, home of traders, caravanners, and most of all, of excellent bargains. Here for business or pleasure? Most of the caravans that come through, their fondest desire is to spend a few days off the road and to get a full stomach. We've got good food in the diner, and we try to keep it nice and peaceful here, when that's an option, of course. That's grand. I do believe it's fair to say you've saved Canterbury. And unlike that Mechanist, you did so with significantly less stress all around. Now, I do believe this is our agreed-upon payment for your fine services rendered, and a little bonus as a special thank you. Bye.
Actually, I think that would have been like 700 or 900 caps or something, and I passed the speech check type of thing. Anyway, not a big deal either way. But all right, that's it. So we have solved the superhuman showdown. Kept happening here in Canterbury. If you are listening to the GNR, then Three Dog will mention it every once in a while. Now, basically, off to the left, way off on the horizon, is where the Deathclaw Sanctuary isn't too far off that way. There's a huge, like, power plant with 3 big smokestacks that come up. And somewhere at the base of that, there's like a hidden manhole. It's one of the harder bobbleheads to find, along with the, what is it, the melee one or unarmed one? That's, one of the bobbleheads is in a cave that it doesn't show up on your map marker, the entrance to it, and you can't even see it until you walk right up on it. There is something of a landmark to show you more or less where it's at. But other than that, unless you walk right up to the rock face and it says, you know, open door, you can't get in. It's pretty slick. It's pretty clever. It actually has a little backstory if you listen to GNR. There's this whole thing about, well, if you look at just wasteland off in the distance and stuff. I like the way they did that. I mean, if you're going to create a border to the map, make it like that. Like, this is a little bit of civilization in the middle of just absolute desolate desert ruin. But anyway, you got Argyle. Is that his name? Argyle. That guy. You got this dude and his ghoul buddy that help out slaves and stuff, and they wind up getting like captured by slavers or something, and wind up in the clutches of the chief slave queen herself or some. Anyway, it's the story. It kind of sounds like a like a little serial on the radio, you know, this little episodes of this guy and his ghoul buddy and stuff. I forget all their names and stuff. Anyway, if we were hearing the radio, you'd hear Three Dog play it all the time. Anyway, it's like little radio segments, you know, what they had before you actually had sitcoms and stuff on TV. Anyway, you actually find out that these people were real. You find the guy in Tenpenny Tower, his room, and then you find his ghoul, and next to him you see an unarmed, I think it's the unarmed bobblehead, and his ghoul buddy is supposed to be like a kung fu master or something. Anyway, there's backstory behind it, but the bobblehead itself is in this unmarked cave. If you know where to start from and where to go, it's not hard to find, but it is essentially invisible on the map though, so if you haven't found it before, it's kind of tricky. Anyway, we'll get to that. That's it's actually along the storyline. We wind up west of Jury Street at this little garage, and then literally directly west of that garage is where the bobblehead's at. You know what? I'm gonna get another quest started. I don't know if we'll get around to it. We may. Actually, we'll get around to at least part of it because we need to get the repair bobblehead. If you remember that girl, what was her name, Lucy in Megaton, she wanted to send us to oh wait, will this send us? Oh, never mind. I think I'm crossing up 2 quests. Never mind. Forget I said anything. Screw it. But I can't get this started because we are going to go downtown in the mall, and we will be in this general area anyway to complete these people's quests. But these are this is the human slave railroad, right? We met the railroad that helped the robot androids and stuff. These people here help the humans.
What's your business, stranger? Hannibal says I gotta let folks like you in, but that don't mean I have to like it. Keep your hands in sight and don't make any sudden moves. I'm coming down to open the gate.
Well, that's the type of person you want protecting your front door, I guess. Oh, great. We got hostilities. If that's the case, that means everybody's going to be freaking out. Yep. Yep, she's freaking out. And she's freaking out, too. Everybody just freak out and go run off out in the open. That's the thing to do. Alright, but I don't know who Dogmeat aggroed. Apparently there's probably a bloatfly 3 miles away that's floating there and it's threatening the whole wasteland or something. Yeah, this is buggy. Sometimes the game does this.
Stranger.
Anyway.
Ain't none of my business. Go away. Hannibal is waiting for you.
Yes, that's
And the
locked,
doors.
yes,
Oh,
I'm
come on.
trying it.
Okay, well, how about just come open your own door then? Thank you. All right. Well, I'll let them deal with the mole rat or bloatfly or whatever it is.
Door behind you, so don't try anything. I'm watching you.
Okay, now here's the leader of the Free Slave Railroad, whatever you call it.
Visitor. Welcome to the Temple of the Union. I'm not going to ask you who you are. For the moment, I don't care. We are all escaped slaves. I need your solemn promise not to betray us to Paradise Falls or the slavers. Until I get that, you cannot leave here. So, do I have your word?
What'd you let me in for? If that's the case.
We can't risk that. Just as we couldn't risk telling you who we were before letting you in. All I need is your word. Will you guard our secret?
Does that ever end badly for you, dude? Just needing somebody's word out here?
Temple of the Union. Our home is your home. Your past is your own affair so long as you serve our common good. As a symbol of our trust, here is a key to the gate. That's Abraham Lincoln, the great emancipator. We don't know how it came to be here, but it's fitting, don't you think? For 23 years I was a slave, ever since I was 14. 6 years ago I managed to escape from my master. He's been hunting me ever since. When I found the head of Lincoln here, I knew it was a sign for me to help other slaves to escape. I founded the Temple of the Union as a safe haven for runaway slaves everywhere. We are trying to make a safe haven for all runaway slaves. We give food and supplies to any that find us and help them on their way. We don't have enough room. There's not enough water or food here. But I have a plan to take over a place that will be a shining beacon of hope for all slaves. I want to move all my people to the memorial site for the great Abraham Lincoln, but I need to know if it's safe. I've heard rumors of super mutants infesting that area, though. We need to send someone to check that out first. I was hoping you would help us. The memorial is easy to find. Good luck. One other thing, talk to Caleb. He'll need your help. We can't leave unless he's ready too. He was a stonemason. It will fall to him to restore the memorial as best he can. He's been pestering me for weeks now to get him some things he needs. I don't have time to deal with him right now. May the spirit of the great Lincoln protect you.
Okay, this winds up being pretty involved side quest. But it helps them set up at the Lincoln Memorial down in the mall. We're going to be at the mall anyway. And we can take care of some of this stuff. We'll also be nearby one of the buildings where we need to help this next guy here, Caleb down here. He's going to send us off to one of the mall buildings also.
You're new. I'm Caleb. If you're going to be staying a while, I could use some help. Hannibal told you about Lincoln's memorial? Well, he doesn't just want to live there. He also wants to restore it. Make it so people tell stories about it and the word can get to the slaves. But I can't restore something if I don't know what it looked like. I need a drawing, a photograph of it. Our ancestors honored Lincoln's life with a display in the Museum of History. I'm hoping that a picture of the memorial still survives in there. The stone head is from the statue of Abraham Lincoln. Hannibal wants me to reattach it to the statue in the memorial. Long time ago, 8 years, I think. 3 of us escaped during the night. They caught Lizel and John. I made it into the wasteland. Raiders took me in at first. When I heard about this place, I knew I had to come here. My former master trained me in masonry. I fix things. Someday I hope to reattach Lincoln's head to the statue in the memorial. Okay?
Alright, notice he mentioned a Lizel and John. I couldn't tell you right offhand who they are, but when names are mentioned like that, sometimes those people pop up in elsewhere as NPCs or in mention, like on a computer or a note or something. Anyway. Well, there's a stop sign. I guess we can stop right here, and we'll make our way a little farther north on the next one. Maybe go grab the perception bobblehead. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Alright, y'all take care. Want to catch the rest of this Let's Play? Click that image there in the middle. Till the next one. All right, bye-bye.